My stepfather slapped me when I refused to sign over my house. So I called 911 and he spent his retirement in prison. Hey lovelies. If this kind of story speaks to your heart, please support us by subscribing. Drop a hi in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Now let's continue today's story. The smell of my mother's lavender perfume still lingered in her bedroom 3 weeks after the funeral. I stood there, clutching the deed to the house she'd left me, tears streaming down my face. Mama had worked 2 jobs for 17 years to buy this place. Now it was mine. You gonna stand there crying all day or you gonna be useful? My stepfather Raymond's voice cut through my grief like a blade. He'd moved in 6 years ago, charming Mama with his smooth talk and expensive cologne. I never trusted him. I'm just remembering her, I whispered, folding the deed carefully. Raymond stepped closer, his cologne overpowering Mama's fading scent. About that house. Eduardo needs a place. You know how hard it is for young brothers out here. Your mama would want you to help your stepbrother. My stomach tightened. Eduardo was Raymond's 28-year-old son from his first marriage. He'd been in and out of jail twice, and Mama had specifically told me 2 months before she died, "Don't let Raymond pressure you about this house, baby. I bought it for you. You hear me? The house is mine, Raymond. Mama left it to me in her will." His jaw clenched. "We're family now. Family helps family. Eduardo is struggling and you got this whole house." I said no. My voice shook, but I meant it. Raymond's eyes went dark. "You're being selfish. Your mama raised you better than this." That's when I knew this was only the beginning. If you've ever dealt with family trying to take what's rightfully yours, drop a comment below. You're not alone. The next morning I woke to pounding on my bedroom door. Raymond had stayed in the guest room, claiming he needed time to settle Mama's affairs. I'd been too exhausted to argue. "Girl, open this door." His voice boomed through the wood. I wrapped my robe around myself and opened it. Raymond stood there with Eduardo, who I barely knew. Eduardo was tall, wearing expensive sneakers that seemed odd for someone supposedly struggling. His eyes swept over me with an entitlement that made my skin crawl. "Eduardo, tell her about your situation," Raymond ordered. Eduardo sighed dramatically. "Look, I'm trying to get my life together. My baby mama kicked me out and I need stability. You got 3 bedrooms here. We could work out rent or whatever." "This isn't a rental property," I said firmly. "I'm sorry you're going through that, but Mama left this house to me. She had her reasons." Raymond's face reddened. "Her reasons? What reasons? I was her husband for 6 years. You were never on the deed, Raymond. That was Mama's choice. Because she was listening to your poisonous whispers." He stepped forward and I instinctively stepped back. "You always tried to turn her against me. Now she's gone and you're showing your true colors." Eduardo put a hand on his father's shoulder. "Chill. Maybe she needs time to think about it." "Think about what?" I snapped. "There's nothing to think about. This is my house." Raymond pointed at me, his finger inches from my face. "Your mama would be ashamed. We got 2 weeks to figure this out or we're getting lawyers involved." They left me standing there, trembling with rage and fear. Have you ever been bullied by family? Let me know in the comments. That afternoon I sat at Mama's old dining table, the one she'd refinished herself, and called my Aunt Cheryl. She'd been Mama's younger sister and the only family member I truly trusted. "Baby, what's wrong?" Her warm voice immediately made me tear up. I told her everything. The silence that followed was heavy. "Your mama warned me this might happen," Aunt Cheryl finally said. Raymond showed his behind even at the funeral, asking about insurance policies and bank accounts. "Baby, listen to me carefully. Do not sign anything. That house is yours legally. He's got no claim to it. But what if he really does get lawyers? Let him. He'll lose. Your mama's will was ironclad. I made sure of it. We went to my lawyer friend together 6 months before she passed." Aunt Cheryl's voice hardened. "Raymond is running a game, sweetheart. He's been planning this." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean planning?" "Eduardo has a warrant out. Something about unpaid child support and violation of probation. Raymond needs somewhere to hide his son until it blows over. Your mama found out about it. That's partly why she made sure that will was airtight. I felt sick. She never told me. She didn't want to stress you while she was sick. But she made me promise to look out for you. Now I need you to do something. Go to her bedroom, look in the bottom drawer of her nightstand. There's a leather journal. Read it. I found the journal exactly where Aunt Cheryl said. Mama's handwriting filled the pages, documenting everything. Raymond's gambling. Eduardo's arrests. Their schemes to borrow money that never got repaid. The final entry, dated 1 week before she died, shattered me. My hands shook as I read Mama's last entry. I don't have much time left. The doctor said maybe 2 weeks. Raymond doesn't know I heard him on the phone yesterday, telling Eduardo that once I'm gone they'll handle my daughter. He said the house would be Eduardo's because I'm too sick to know what I'm signing. Baby, if you're reading this, please be careful. I made a mistake bringing that man into our lives. Don't let him take what we built. I bought this house with my blood. Every double shift, every missed holiday, every sacrifice. It's yours. Not his. Never his. Tears blurred my vision. Mama had known. She died knowing Raymond was already plotting against me, and she tried to protect me from the grave. I kept reading. Page after page of documentation. Dates Raymond had taken money from her purse. Times Eduardo had stolen from the house. A copy of a police report from 2 years ago when Eduardo had been arrested for assault. Mama had attached a note. He hit his girlfriend in front of their baby. Raymond bailed him out and never told me the truth. The front door slammed. Raymond's voice echoed through the house. Where you at, girl? I quickly hid the journal under my mattress and wiped my tears. When I came out, Raymond and Eduardo were in the kitchen, eating the leftover food from Mama's repast. We need to talk, Raymond said, his mouth full of potato salad. Sit down. This is my house. I don't have to sit down. Eduardo laughed. She's got attitude, Pop. Just like you said. Watch your mouth, I snapped at Eduardo. Then to Raymond, say what you need to say and leave. Raymond stood slowly and suddenly the kitchen felt smaller. I've been patient with you. But I'm done playing games. Raymond pulled papers from his jacket pocket and slapped them on the kitchen counter. The sound made me flinch. Sign these. I picked up the documents, my nursing training helping me stay calm despite my racing heart. They were transfer papers. Deed transfer papers. To Eduardo's name. You've lost your mind, I said, throwing them back at him. I'm not signing anything. Your mama would want you to help family, Raymond said, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. She'd want Eduardo to have a chance. Mama wanted me to have this house. It's in her will. Her legal will that you can't do anything about. Eduardo stood up and I noticed he was blocking the doorway. My pulse quickened. Look, we can do this easy or hard, Eduardo said. My pops took care of your mama when she was sick. You owe us. I don't owe you anything. My voice rose. My mama took care of your father. She paid bills, cooked, cleaned, worked herself to death while he... Raymond's hand hit the counter so hard the papers jumped. Watch yourself. I loved your mama. You loved her house and her bank account. The words flew out before I could stop them. I found her journal, Raymond. I know everything. The gambling, the stealing, all of it. His face went pale then red. The temperature in the room shifted. Eduardo moved closer to his father and they exchanged a look that terrified me. That journal doesn't mean anything, Raymond said quietly. Sick people imagine things. Write crazy stuff. You can't prove nothing. I can prove you're not on the deed. I can prove this house is legally mine. So get out. We're not going anywhere, Eduardo said. This is as much our house as yours now. I pulled out my phone. Then I'm calling the police. Raymond lunged forward and snatched my phone from my hand. The speed shocked me. Give me my phone. I reached for it, but Raymond held it above his head. Not until you listen to reason, he said. We're not trying to take anything from you. We just want what's fair. Fair? Fair. I was screaming now, months of grief and anger pouring out. What's fair is that you leave my mother's house. What's fair is that you stop trying to steal from me. What's fair is... The slap came out of nowhere. Raymond's palm connected with my face so hard I stumbled backward into the refrigerator. The metallic taste of blood filled my mouth. The world went silent. I touched my lip, my fingers coming away red. Eduardo stood frozen, eyes wide. Raymond looked at his hand like it belonged to someone else. I didn't mean. Raymond started. Something in me broke. Not the weak, afraid part. The strong part. The part that was Mama's daughter. You put your hands on me. My voice was deadly calm. In my house. The house my mother bought. You hit me. You were being hysterical, Raymond said, but his voice shook. I just needed you to calm down and listen. Get out. Now wait a minute. Get out of my house. I lunged past Eduardo, grabbed the landline from the hallway table, and dialed 911 before either of them could stop me. 911, what's your emergency? My stepfather just assaulted me in my home, I said clearly, my eyes locked on Raymond's. He slapped me and he's refusing to leave. I need police here now. Raymond's face went from red to gray. Hang up that phone. Don't be stupid. I gave my address while Raymond stood there, frozen. Eduardo grabbed his father's arm. Pop, we need to go. Now. She's not gonna actually. Officers are on the way, the dispatcher said. Stay on the line with me. Are you safe right now? I will be when they're gone. Raymond and Eduardo didn't leave. That was their second mistake. Their first was thinking I wouldn't follow through. You're making a huge mistake, Raymond said, pacing my living room. Family doesn't call the police on family. You stopped being family when you hit me. I stayed on the phone with the dispatcher, my cheek throbbing. And you were never my family. You were just some man who married my mother. Eduardo stood by the window looking out. Cops just pulled up, Pop. I watched Raymond's face cycle through emotions. Anger, fear, calculation. He turned to me with sudden gentleness that made me sick. Baby girl, let's think about this. Your mama just died. You're emotional. I understand. We both got heated. But if you let those cops in here, you're going to ruin everything. They'll arrest me and then what? You'll be all alone. Is that what you want? The doorbell rang. That's exactly what I want, I said, walking to the door. My hands shook, but I opened it. 2 officers stood there, one black woman about 40, one white man maybe 30. The woman's eyes immediately went to my face. Ma'am, are you the one who called? Yes. He's inside. I pointed at Raymond. He hit me and he's been refusing to leave my property. The male officer stepped past me. Sir, can you step outside, please? This is a misunderstanding, Raymond said, hands up, voice smooth. This is my stepdaughter. We had a disagreement about her mother's estate. I'm in mourning, she's in mourning, emotions got high. Did you strike her? The female officer asked, looking at my swelling lip. It was barely a tap. She's being dramatic. That's not what I asked. Did you strike her? Raymond's jaw tightened. She was hysterical. I was trying to calm her. So yes. Step outside, sir. Now. I watched them put Raymond in handcuffs while he protested. Eduardo tried to leave, but the female officer stopped him. You live here? No, I said quickly. Neither of them do. At the police station 2 hours later, I sat in a small room with Detective Lisa Morrison, the female officer who'd arrived first. She'd gotten me ice for my face and was taking my statement. Your stepfather has quite a record, she said, sliding a paper across the table. Did you know about this? I looked at Raymond's rap sheet. My vision blurred. Assault. Fraud. 3 restraining orders from previous partners. The oldest charge was from 20 years ago. My mother didn't know, I whispered. She couldn't have known. I'm sorry to tell you this, but he used a fake name when he met her. His real name is Raymond Mitchell, not Raymond Peters. We've been looking for him regarding an identity theft case from 2 years ago. Your mother's name was one of the victims. The room spun. What? Detective Morrison's face was kind but serious. He opened credit cards in her name. Took out loans. Your mother's credit was destroyed before she died. Did she ever mention financial problems? I thought about Mama working overtime those last 2 years. Her stress. The way she'd cried when she couldn't afford her medication 1 month. She said insurance wasn't covering everything. I thought it was medical bills. It was Raymond. And there's more. Eduardo has active warrants. Your stepfather was hiding him from a domestic violence charge. The victim was Eduardo's ex-girlfriend. She's been trying to press charges for months. I started crying. Deep body-shaking sobs. He killed her. The stress killed my mother. We're going to need everything you have. The journal, any documents, any evidence that he coerced or manipulated your mother. I told her everything. About the transfer papers. The threats. The journal Mama left. By the time I finished, Detective Morrison was making calls. We're charging him with assault, attempted fraud, and we're reopening your mother's case. If we can prove elder abuse and financial exploitation, he's looking at serious time. Good, I said, my voice hard. I want him to pay for what he did to her. The next 3 weeks were a nightmare. Detectives went through Mama's finances, and every discovery was a knife to my heart. Raymond had stolen over $70,000 from her. $70,000 she'd saved for retirement, for emergencies, for peace of mind. Aunt Cheryl came to stay with me. I couldn't be alone in the house, couldn't sleep without seeing Raymond's face or hearing Mama's voice in my dreams. I should have seen it, I told Cheryl one night. We sat in Mama's bedroom going through her things. I should have protected her. Baby, your mama was a grown woman. She made her choices. And she did protect you. That's what the will was for. That's what the journal was for. Cheryl held my hand. She knew she'd been fooled, and she made sure you wouldn't be. We found more evidence. Bank statements showing transfers to accounts we didn't recognize. Forged signatures. A life insurance policy Raymond had tried to change, making himself the beneficiary instead of me. The insurance company had flagged it as suspicious and frozen it. That's probably why he'd gotten desperate about the house. Detective Morrison called me one afternoon. We got him. The DA is charging him with elder abuse, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, identity theft, fraud, and assault. Eduardo is being charged as an accessory. They're both looking at 10 to 15 years minimum. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt hollow. Will that bring my mother back? No. But it'll give her justice. And it'll protect the next woman he tries to con. That's when it hit me. I wasn't his first victim, and I wouldn't have been his last. How many other families had Raymond destroyed? If you've ever been scammed by someone you trusted, I see you. Drop a comment and let's talk about it. The trial started 6 months later. I'd used that time to heal, to repair Mama's credit, to reclaim her name. I also started a support group for people dealing with financial abuse from family members. Turned out I wasn't alone. Not by a long shot. The courtroom was packed. Raymond's lawyer tried to paint me as a bitter, greedy daughter who'd turned on her grieving stepfather. They brought character witnesses who claimed Raymond was a good man going through a hard time. Then it was my turn to testify. I wore Mama's favorite color, purple. Her strength wrapped around me like a coat. Miss Johnson, can you tell the court about your relationship with the defendant? The prosecutor asked. I looked directly at Raymond. He couldn't meet my eyes. He was a stranger who married my mother and spent 6 years stealing from her, lying to her, and ultimately contributing to her death through stress and financial abuse. Objection. Raymond's lawyer jumped up. Speculation about cause of death. Sustained, the judge said. Stick to facts, Miss Johnson. I nodded. The facts are these. Raymond Mitchell, using the false name Raymond Peters, married my mother while hiding a criminal record. He systematically drained her bank accounts, opened fraudulent credit cards, forged loan documents, and stole her peace of mind. When my mother died and I inherited her house, he attempted to force me to sign it over to his son through intimidation and ultimately violence. These are the facts. The prosecutor presented the journal. Mama's words filled the courtroom. When they read her final entry aloud, I watched several jurors wipe their eyes. Then came the bombshell. The prosecutor called a witness I didn't know. Patricia Daniels, a woman in her 60s with sad eyes. Miss Daniels, do you know the defendant? I was married to him, she said quietly. 20 years ago. He did the same thing to me. Took everything. When I tried to stop him, She touched her arm. He broke my wrist. The courtroom erupted. 3 more women testified. 3 more victims. Raymond had a pattern spanning 30 years. Each time he'd find a woman with assets, charm his way into her life, steal everything and disappear when she caught on or died. Mama wasn't his first victim. She was just the first one whose daughter fought back. Eduardo testified too, turning on his father to get a reduced sentence. Pop told me it was easy money, he said, avoiding my eyes. Said these women were lonely and stupid. Said they'd never suspect nothing. After Miss Johnson's mama died, Pop said we'd pressure her until she gave up the house. Then we'd sell it and split the money. And when she refused, the prosecutor asked. Pop said we'd find another way. Make her uncomfortable. Scare her. He said women always break eventually. I felt sick but vindicated. The jury looked disgusted. Raymond finally took the stand in his own defense. It was a disaster. He tried to claim he'd loved Mama, that everything was a misunderstanding. The prosecutor tore him apart with evidence. Bank statements. Forged signatures. Recorded phone calls where Raymond discussed the con with Eduardo. Mr. Mitchell, you told your son that the victim was stupid and easy, correct? That was taken out of context. You referred to her daughter, the plaintiff, as an obstacle that needed to be handled, correct? I didn't mean. You slapped her hard enough to split her lip when she refused to sign over property that legally belonged to her, correct? Raymond said nothing. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. When they came back, I held Aunt Cheryl's hand so tight my fingers went numb. On the count of elder abuse in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, guilty. On the count of identity theft, guilty. On the count of fraud, guilty. On the count of assault, guilty. Guilty on all counts. I watched Raymond's face crumble. For once he had no smooth words, no charm, no way out. The sentencing hearing was 2 months later. The judge allowed victim impact statements. I'd prepared mine carefully with Aunt Cheryl's help. Your Honor, I began, my voice steady. Raymond Mitchell stole my mother's life. Not just her money or her house or her peace. He stole years she should have spent happy and secure. He stole her final months, filling them with stress that weakened her already fragile health. He stole her dignity, her trust, her joy. I pulled out a photo of Mama. This is who she was before Raymond. Smiling. Full of life. She worked as a nurse for 30 years. He helped people. She raised me alone after my father died, never complaining, always sacrificing. She deserved better than a con man who saw her as a mark. My voice cracked, but I continued. After she died, he tried to steal from me too. When I refused, he hit me. In my own home. And he would have kept going if I hadn't called the police. How many other women didn't call? How many other families did he destroy? I looked at Raymond. You don't deserve forgiveness. You deserve exactly what you're about to get. Patricia Daniels spoke next, then the other victims. By the end, there wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom except Raymond's. He sat stone-faced, finally out of words. The judge's voice was ice. Mr. Mitchell, you are a predator. You targeted vulnerable women, exploited their loneliness and trust, and destroyed their lives for profit. You showed no remorse, no conscience, no humanity. This court sentences you to 15 years in state prison for elder abuse, to run consecutively with 12 years for financial exploitation and 5 years for identity theft. Total sentence, 32 years. 32 years. Raymond was 63. He'd die in prison. The courtroom erupted in applause. The judge banged her gavel but didn't stop it immediately. He let us have that moment. Eduardo got 8 years for his role. Justice wasn't just served. It was delivered with interest. 1 year later, I stood in Mama's garden, my garden now, planting roses. Purple ones, her favorite. The house was truly mine now, legally and emotionally. I'd renovated her bedroom, turning it into a home office where I ran my support group's website. We'd helped 43 families escape financial abuse. Every time someone shared their story, I thought of Mama. She'd lost her battle, but her death had sparked a war I was determined to win. Aunt Cheryl came over every Sunday for dinner. We talk about Mama, sharing memories that made us laugh and cry. The grief never disappeared, but it softened into something I could carry. "She'd be proud of you," Cheryl said one evening, looking around at the renovated house. "You took her sacrifice and turned it into something powerful. I just wish she was here to see it." I wiped my eyes. I wish I could tell her I'm okay. Baby, she knows. Wherever she is, she knows. I thought about Raymond sometimes, rotting in prison. I felt no satisfaction in his suffering, but I felt peace knowing he couldn't hurt anyone else. His appeals had all failed. He'd serve every day of that 32-year sentence. Eduardo got out in 5 years on good behavior. He sent me a letter apologizing. I never opened it. Some people don't deserve forgiveness, and I'd learned that choosing peace doesn't mean accepting empty apologies. The house Mama bought with her blood, sweat, and tears still stood. It was filled with light now, with hope, with the sound of survivors finding their voices. Every time someone walked through my door for a support group meeting, I felt Mama smiling. She'd wanted me to have this house. I'd turned it into a home for healing. That was my revenge against Raymond. Not his imprisonment, but my survival. My thriving. My refusal to let what he did destroy me the way it destroyed Mama. If you're dealing with toxic family, financial abuse, or anyone trying to steal what's rightfully yours, fight back. Document everything. Trust your instincts. Call the police. Get lawyers. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. Mama couldn't save herself, but she saved me. And now I'm using that salvation to save others. That's how we honor the people we've lost, by becoming the people they needed when they were suffering. I planted the last rose, purple and perfect. "This one's for you, Mama," I whispered. We won. If this story touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with anyone who needs to hear that they're not alone, that they can fight back, and that justice, though sometimes slow, is always worth pursuing. Drop a comment telling me your story. Together we're stronger. Together we heal.